I'm Greg Fonstein. I'm the Executive Director of the Chiaroscuro Foundation. Some of us gathered here over a month ago, shortly after the mandate was issued, but we are back here today with a much broader coalition of groups and organizations, and we're prepared for a grassroots campaign to defend parents' rights in education. We have developed a website, nycparentschoice.org, and we are launching phone calls to tens of thousands of New York parents to encourage them to make sure their voices are heard. We live today in a pluralistic society. Members of our communities have a wide variety of religious views, moral and political views. We are here today to ask that the City of New York recognize the diverse views that exist within the city regarding sex education by allowing not only a complete opt-out of the condom-based sex ed program the city is mandating, but also an alternative program for children whose parents want their kids receiving fact-based, medically accurate health information regarding sex, but who nonetheless want that information to be aligned with broadly held values. Such education will focus on encouraging young people to choose abstinence as the only way to avoid completely the risks associated with sexual activity in adolescence. We agree with the goals the city has in mind with the mandate, but we think the tools used to attain those goals should not be offensive to parents. We are not asking the city to stop offering sex education. We are asking the city to offer medically accurate, evidence-based, abstinence-centered education as an alternative for parents who prefer it. Since there are many evidence-based, abstinence-centered curricula which have been proven to be effective through rigorous scientific evaluation, and just as effective as the city's condom-based program, there is no scientific reason to deny this request. While there are clearly profound ideological and philosophical differences about how to approach sex education, it is important to realize that the differences are just that, ideological and philosophical. In a pluralistic society such as ours, differing views should be tolerated and respected, and especially when those views are the views of a minority of the community. And New York City's parents should be allowed to choose which program they prefer. We have here Michael Benjamin, who's a former member of the New York State Assembly. He's been heading up the coalition and working very closely with us, and he's going to introduce some of our guests.
Good morning. 47% of black teenagers say that their parents are more influential than their peers or the media. And we're simply saying the city's curriculum should reflect that. If you're a parent and you're at the dinner table and you're teaching your child about abstinence, sex education, you want that reflected when they go to school. So we're saying that when parents have the opportunity to opt out of the current program, they should opt into one that's abstinence-centered sex education so they reflect what their values are. We don't want children sitting in hallways or sitting in study halls and not receive this information, because the level of teen pregnancy and STD contraction is way too high, and we must do something about it. So we're not putting our heads in the sand. We're reflecting what parents want to do. And across the city, we are interfaith, and we're in all 5 boroughs, across all ethnic groups, black, Latino, white, Asian. These families want sex education to reflect their values at home. This is about abstinence coming first. That's the one thing that protects you totally against becoming a teenage father or mother or contracting any sort of STI or STD. That's all we're asking for. We're not saying to the Board of Ed, Department of Education, not to have the program, but to do one that's reflective of the students, of what the parents are teaching at home. Because that's what the students themselves are looking for. It's bad enough that the media puts out this message, and the children feel pressured. Teenage girls report feeling pressured by boys to have sex because that's what they see on TV, they see in the media. We want it to be said in our public schools when they teach sex ed that abstinence is the way to go, and then to recognize that contraception is not 100% effective. If condoms are 85% effective, that means 15% of the time it's not going to function, a person becomes pregnant. A study has shown that 1 out of 2 black teenagers believe they'll be pregnant before they complete high school. That's troubling. If we had abstinence-based sex education as an option, we could really affect that attitude, because they know it's something that their parents reflect and our school system also reflects. With us today we have Chaplain Viviana Hernandez from Brooklyn.
Thank you. This is such an important issue. This isn't about the mayor, it isn't even about our groups, it's about our children and the sexualizing of these children early on. Right now we know that if you do not finish your education, you do not have a future. At this point, without the abstinence-based programs being offered, we are saying to some of our teenagers, we don't think that you're smart enough to abstain from sex. We want you to have a false security. If you had a parachute and it had a 2% rate of failure, would you jump out of an airplane?
No.
We don't want our children sexualized before their time. We want them to strive and educate themselves. And we, the parents, have elected the mayor. The mayor has not the power to decide for our children what he is going to give them against the parents' consent. I thank you very much.
Thank you.
We also have with us Reverend Michael Faulkner from the Institute for Leadership.
Yes, I'm also pastor, New Horizon Church in Harlem, and am working with the clergy for Better Choices. We have a problem. The house is on fire, and we need sex education. But we need the kind of education that's going to help save our kids' lives. We understand that the delay of sexual activity and the statistical analysis on how much better children and adults do the longer that they delay sexual activity, we understand that correlation. So my question is, why aren't we giving our kids and parents the best option for our kids? Now, nobody is playing the race card, but we understand that this program is overwhelmingly going to affect Black and Latino children and families. So why aren't we pushing a program or an approach that's simply going to give them the best option? When I talk to young people in my community, especially the young ladies, they ask me, they say, Reverend, we wish that there was an abstinence program, because we want to know how to say no. We want to know how to resist the pressure that we're receiving. We want to know, and we need parents involved. And so I am so very glad to be supporting this, because truly it is our parents that are going to, and this grassroots coalition that we're forming right now of parents, that will determine the outcome of the sex education curriculum. Not the mayor, and certainly not those who have come up with this curriculum. And we are going to be here until it's changed. Thanks.